Jake Paul embarrassed the shit out of Mike Perry. Nate Diaz outboxed Jorge Masvidal. Alexander Usyk beat the shit out of Tyson Fury. And all we got as MMA fans was Ian Gary putting on the worst grappling performance I've ever seen against MVP. That's all we got. Shout out Thug Rose for whatever, dude. This is bullshit. Dana White needs to fix this, and I'm here to help him out. I don't really think it's that hard. He's actually set up a ton of like rivalries or just incidental really good matchups. Even the shit he just did. I mean, I'll give him credit for like the Volkov-Pavlovich fight, even though he totally just turned those guys against each other. He needs to get this shit going. Boxing is actually picking up some momentum, and other MMA promotions are starting to do good. So Dana, let's work. This is the plan. We're going to run through it really quick, but I mean, come on now. Just eyeball this and tell me it doesn't look like straight bangers. I think it starts out easy enough. Jon Jones and the Stipe fight is unavoidable. It's going to happen hopefully in November if Jones can stay off the coke and abuse charges, whatever he's doing nowadays at his house. I do think he's going to walk through Stipe. I think it's going to be no big deal at all. Stipe is going to retire after this fight. Jon is going to hint at retirement or debate it or whatever, but I ultimately do think he's going to fight again, and I do think it's going to be Alex Pereira. I just don't think he wants to fight Tom Aspinall. I don't think he wants that matchup. I think he wants to be able to just walk through the rest of this heavyweight division for the rest of his time here, which works because that puts him in a position where he can do anything. I mean, Jon Jones, even if he loses, somehow wins in this situation. That's what I've got right down here. If he beats Stipe and then goes on to beat Alexander Pereira, why did I call him Alexander? I was thinking Gustafsson. If he goes on to beat Pereira after he beats Stipe, whether he fights Aspinall or not, I don't really want to hear anything about the GOAT debate. Jon Jones is the GOAT inside of the cage. Is there a lot of stuff outside of the cage that make people debate whether he is or not? Yes. But if you put your favorite fighter in that octagon with Jon Jones for 25 minutes, your favorite fighter's not coming out. You see what I'm saying? Especially, I don't know. There's always going to be a ref, but, if the ref misses something, or if it's Herb Dean, Mario Yamasaki, your guy's not beating Jon Jones. It doesn't matter what Jon Jones did the weekend before. It doesn't matter what drugs are in his system right now. It doesn't matter what drugs are in your system. You're not beating Jon Jones. So he's going to walk out of that octagon as the undisputed ultimate GOAT with ultimately 0 losses, or he's finally going to lose one, legit, on the feet, knocked out cold against Pereira, and he's going to be the ultimate torch passer. He is going to solidify Alex Pereira's career right there. Although he's finally taking a loss, Jon Jones is going to get his first and only opportunity to ride into a sunset. He's going to be handing off the GOAT status to one of the most fan-favorite pushed fighters of all time, and it is the only win-win situation I can see happening for Jon Jones for the rest of his career. If he doesn't fight Aspinall or Pereira, he's called a bitch for the rest of his life. I don't know, dude, you really don't have any other choices. You see what I'm saying? But I think Jon Jones is actually set up in a situation where he is going to be the big winner, no matter what happens. Next up is something you just have to do at some point, and I'm not willing to give Dana any wiggle room on this. Diego Lopez proves that he is not only a valid fighter, he is a hard-working young prospect who can fight at damn near 3 weight classes on a short-term notice. I mean, he gave you everything, bro. He went up 2 weight classes after Ortega said he was sick. Or he went up a weight class after Ortega said he was sick. And then he goes up another one. And then they're like, oh, he's pulling out of the fight. This is the morning of. And then 4 hours before, instead of fighting the jiu-jitsu specialist that is Brian Ortega, you're fighting Steel Hands 50K Ige. That's insane. And he went out there and put on a great performance outside of his weight, outside of his expected fight. It was beautiful. It was art. And all respect to Ige too, dude. He went out there literally from a fucking barbecue and gave some knucks. Shout out Dan. Won the 3rd round. Didn't win the fight though. Beautiful fight. 15 minutes of great sportsmanship, great fighting. But Diego Lopez deserves to climb the fucking ladder and climb all over Calvin Kattar. The fact that I like Calvin Kattar, I'm not even going to try and sound like I hate the dude, but Aljamain Sterling absolutely ragdolled his dumbass. Dipped him in bleached, soaked him in water for an hour, and ragdolled his dumbass. Calvin Kattar's striking didn't exist because Aljamain's grappling and his athleticism was just miles beyond what Kattar was able to offer. I think Diego Lopez's athleticism is going to be able to match up similarly. I think his unorthodox striking and those left hooks of Diego, bro, they don't even look like hooks. They kind of look like Alex's little shovel cuts, you know what I'm saying? But I think his unorthodox striking is going to be a little bit too much for Kattar. And he's got the bailout. He can hit the ground at any time, whether it's pulling guard off of his back, whether it's trying to just take him down, shoot through his fucking legs. It doesn't matter. Hold him against the cage, get some clinch and judo throw him. Diego Lopez's ground game, grappling, stand-up clinch, whatever you want to call it, if they're hugging each other, Kattar's losing that fight. Plain and simple. Do I think Kattar has a chance to hit him with a knee or an elbow or a really nice punch? Yeah, it's always there, but I just see Diego Lopez. This is his reward. This is what we're giving him for Christmas this year. I left out the fact that it's going to set up a Yair Rodriguez fight. This is amazing. These two guys, not these two guys, everyone wants to see these two guys fight, but specifically, they just want to see Lopez in wars. They know Lopez is going out there with his chin high and his chest out, throwing some fucking fists and taking them, bro. It is so fun to watch this guy fight, and he's just so, I don't know if humble is the right word. I do believe it is, but I mean, he's pure. He's superstar energy. He's got that it factor, and setting up a fight with Yair Rodriguez is either going to solidify Yair as one of those higher ranked featherweights, or it's going to immediately project Diego into that upper echelon of top 3, top 4 featherweights. And that is just great for either one of these guys, because Yair kind of looks like he's been struggling up top. It'd be nice for him to get a victory over a nice young prospect and prove he belongs there. Or if he loses, he goes down, he gets a couple easier fights, maybe gets a couple W's, he gets another highlight victory, you know? That's about all I really expect out of Yair. But this also gives Diego Lopez to become the next Yair, which I think is what's going to happen. Now, this one is all but done, but I really hope it's at the Sphere September 14th, right after my birthday, because I'm trying to watch this. I'm not going to pay for it, you know, streamies. But Max Holloway needs to get his hands on Ilia Topuria, and to be honest, I hope it's a dual belt bout. I don't think it will be, but throw the BMF belt on the line, bro. I don't give a fuck. I want to see Max get his hands on Ilia so bad. First of all, I thought Gaethje was going to walk through Holloway because they're both just going to stand there and fight, and Gaethje just naturally weighs 155, whereas Max had to go up. I was wrong. Absolutely butchered him. Max at 145 is already a proven absolute demon with the best hands, best boxing in the UFC, especially in the featherweight division. It's not even close. Ilia always got the knockout power. He knocked out Alexander Volkanovski. I love Volk, bro. Volk has been beat to shit for the last year and a half. 2 Islam fights. One of them, I mean, come on, bro. I'm not saying he's beat up. I'm not saying he's washed. I'm not saying he's done. But he's been beat the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? Like, if there was ever a time Volk was going to get knocked out, it was probably that. Not trying to take away from Ilia. Yes, I am. But, you see what I'm saying? Damn. I don't know. I just really, really hope this goes the way I want it to, because if Ilia is able to get it to the ground, we've seen what happened in the Volkanovski fights. Holloway really wasn't able to counter or answer much of it, even though on the feet, he was doing so well. He was in all but one of those fights in the whole... The main reason I really want to see this fight out of all of them is because it sets up the featherweight division so well for everyone else, despite who wins this one. Does everyone want Max Holloway to win? Absolutely. But right here at the bottom, you can see Lopez does not need a title shot yet. He's not at that level. He doesn't have enough wins. Hasn't been in the UFC long enough. Nobody really wants to see that. Volkanovski isn't getting the next title shot just because he needs a minute. He needs to sit out for a minute, take a break, maybe get one more win and then go right back to the title. But we've already seen that that's not going to happen. Brian Ortega obviously isn't getting the title shot right this second just due to his illnesses, and he missed his last fight against Lopez, so that's out of the fucking window. And Aljamain Sterling, skill-wise, already looks to me to be one of the top 3 featherweights in the world, especially showing off that grappling, and we've seen what he did at 135. But he's got one victory, and it was a ragdoll of a matchup over Calvin Kattar. So let's maybe not throw him in the fire just yet. I think he'll be fine once he gets there. I actually think Volk versus Aljo would be a really good fight. I'm just afraid Aljo would win. I'm afraid of Volk losing now. I used to think it was impossible, but, like, it's my hero, bro. Another super obvious fight to make, in my opinion. The trilogy of the two baddest motherfuckers in the lightweight division. I want to see fists, kicks, blocks, guards, slips, knees, elbows, blood, doctor cuts. I'm everything, dude. This is easily one of the most important fights to make. But you got to give these time guys. You got to give these guys time to rest. Justin Gaethje just got shit. I'm too excited. I can't speak. Justin Gaethje just got sent into the fucking shadow realm, and Dustin Poirier just went through two absolute wars with Benoit Saint-Denis and Islam. And damn, he looked good in that Benoit fight. Same with the Islam fight. He lost the Islam fight, but did as good as anybody against him. But damn, he looked good in that Benoit fight. I do think you got to give these guys time to recover, especially since Dustin's debating retirement right now. But I do think he's got the trilogy fight in him. I think he wants that. But the main reason is because both of these guys, Gaethje got fucked out of his lightweight title shot because he lost the BMF fight. Poirier lost his, even though he did the best against anyone versus Makhachev, other than Volk. But Volk is a featherweight fighting up. I'm talking about in the actual lightweights. I think you've got to give these guys a shot against each other. In the meantime, you give Charles a fight against Islam. I would have said Arman Tsarukyan. Charles, first of all, I can't give Arman Tsarukyan that fight against Charles Oliveira. 2 of the 3 rounds, he was literally stuck in a submission, and he would have died if there was, you know. So I give Charles the fight against Islam. If not, cool, give it to Arman after his fucking 9-month suspension. Go fuck yourself. Regardless, after that fight, give the winner of this the next title shot. Both of these guys have been there. Both of them have been at the upper echelon for a long time. I don't really feel like we've seen a title fight for these guys in a little bit. Obviously, Poirier just had his, but Gaethje, turn my mic. Anyway, they both deserve it. That's pretty much the only thing I'm getting at here. They've done so much for the sport, especially for the lightweight division. These guys wrapping gold around their waist and walking off into the sunset, either one of them would be sick. Not a lot to say on this one. I feel like this is the most obvious and entertaining one to make, and you've got to make this one pretty quick. Wonder Boy has had plenty of time after that Shavkat loss. Fuck, Shavkat looked good in that fight. Didn't really take a lot of damage for MVP, you know? That Ian Gary fight was a straight snooze fest. Ian was terrified to stand up with him. That 1-1-2 of MVP is probably the best in the world. I think you make this fight within the next 3-4 months. It's make or break for MVP. He's old. He's established that he wants to fight for a belt, not just for legacy or anything like that. He wants to win the belt. He wants to win the UFC welterweight championship. He's got a long way to go, and they're going to have to give him sort of that fast track thing where they give him nice matchups all the way up, because we've seen what happened against even a subpar grappler in Ian. He couldn't do shit. He was literally rolling the wrong way to defend against a rear naked choke. I don't know what you're supposed to do with that. On top of that, like I said, Wonder Boy's had plenty of time after his loss from Shavkat. It didn't look like he took an awful amount of damage in that fight. I mean, obviously Shavkat kind of dominated it, but we've seen Wonder Boy go through bigger wars. We've seen Wonder Boys recover from worse. I think we just need to make this quick. We need to get fans to watch this fucking fight, and we need to have these guys. They're not going to wrestle. That's what we need to have MVP doing anyway. We need to be selling tickets. Objectively, as MMA fans, we know MVP's not winning the welterweight belt. He's not going to beat Shavkat. He's not going to beat Bilal. He's not going to beat Kamaru. He's not going to beat Leon. And it doesn't matter who else after that, because those guys are just going to out-grapple him. I think you kind of tell MVP to bite the bullet, suck it up, whatever you want to call it, and just fight for money. Go big-name fights like this, dude. This would be huge. This is the only one I have that I think people won't like. But this is an absolute electric fight at light heavyweight. I personally think light heavyweight is the most boring division right now, which hurts me to say because I'm a light heavyweight. But damn, dude, it's really hard to watch these guys sometimes. Some of them just don't really have the grappling ability and they get soloed. Some of them don't really have the cardio or discipline, so they look like Lionheart out there. I used to love Anthony Smith, but I don't want to watch another one of your fights, bro. Call it wraps. Time up. Hang the shoes. But these two guys are two that I absolutely love to watch fight. The winner gets boosted, the loser goes down, the loser has to fight his way back up, and that gives us more fun fights. But I want to see these two fight to get people interested in the light heavyweight division again. Maybe get a heavyweight to cut some weight, maybe get a middleweight to beef up. Get Paulo Costa to go up to 205. He'll fucking kill everybody. I promise, dude. He looks 200 pounds anyway. It couldn't be that hard. But regardless, when Khalil Roundtree comes back from his suspension, the way that he just Spartan kicks people in the chest and punts their fucking ribs when they're on the ground, combined with Magomed's style of just grabbing you, smothering you, beating the shit out of you, and having heavy, heavy legs to throw those round kicks with, dude, I think these guys would either knock each other the fuck out with like that switch kick Alex just hit on Yuri, some huge single shot like that out of nowhere, or this will just be 5 rounds of bombs like the Dan Henderson, or not Dan Henderson, the Dan Hooker Dustin Poirier fight, Robbie Lawler Rory McDonald too, one of those. I mean, I think this has potential to just be an absolute fucking slugfest, and it would be great if they don't wind up giving Magomed and Alex a fight, which I do think is what's going to happen immediately before Alex goes up to heavyweight. If that's not what happens, and you give Ankalaev this, not only is it most likely a fight that he's going to win, it's an undeniable fight that puts him, this is our top guy, this is who fights for the belt next. If Alex moves out of heavyweight, this dude is in the title fight. He got robbed. I'm a Jan Blachowicz fan, but I do think Magomed beat Jan in that title fight. He's earned that. Do I think they're going to give Alex that fast track and push him to heavyweight? Yes, but Magomed has earned gold. I can't really beat around that bush. I don't even like the guy, but he's earned that opportunity. Whereas Khalil Roundtree, on the other hand, despite the fact he's coming off of that suspension, he took a very upfront approach to it, which we've never really seen before. He straight up told everyone, yo, my bad, didn't really think that was going to happen. I didn't intentionally take this, XYZ, and it happened, and that's why ABC was the result. Mad respect to bro. He came very up forth about it. You don't really see that in the UFC a lot anymore. So this would be a great way for him to come back and prove that, hey man, I'm really here to fight, make money, and be the best light heavyweight contender in the world. Didn't even realize I was covering this up right here. But like I said, with Magomed being at that title holder spot for so long, whether it be like interim or he's been right there. He's been the number 1, number 2 guy at light heavyweight, including the champions, for a really, really long time at this point. So he's going to be either, if he loses, he's the best gatekeeper of all time. He's going to stay in that top 3, and he just happened to lose that night. Cool, whatever. And if he wins, it's just unarguable now. He's beat everyone else. You've got to give him that title shot. My bad for covering that up. And the big money fight, you have got to get one of these boxers in the octagon, and his name is Ryan Garcia. Nobody else. I don't want to see anything else happen. I've heard all the rumors and the talks and the jokes. Bryce Mitchell has offered to train this man jiu-jitsu for 6 to 9 months before he steps foot in an octagon, and I'm sure he'd do it for longer. You could probably live with the guy. Bryce Mitchell seems like one of the coolest down-to-earth UFC fighters that's ever existed, and Ryan Garcia needs exactly that. Someone who's not going to play into the flashy lights, someone who's not going to play into the bullshit, into the social media, into the promotion. I'm just going to teach you how to fight. I'm going to teach you how to be good on the ground. You're amazing with your hands. You could probably teach me a thing or two, bro. I'm going to teach you how to survive chokes. I'm going to teach you how to get out of these. I'm going to teach you how to pass guard. I'm going to teach you how to deny transitions. Basic things, right? If you give Ryan Garcia the most basic, fundamental understanding of grappling out there, and you give him 4-ounce gloves, I think the speed of his hands are doing some wicked damage. I worry about his chin. He's probably going to get knocked the fuck out. He's never been hit with, UFC, it's a little different. But this is money. We're not talking for a title fight here. That's why I've got these guys listed. Cody Garbrandt. No chin. I love Cody. Cody no love. Cody no chin Garbrandt. That's my fucking guy, bro. I would love. Ryan fights right around 140. You could do this at 135, 145. I'm sure Cody would go either way. Cody at 145 would be cool. Don't know if we've ever seen that. Hands. I want hands, occasionally kicks, a bunch of chin. I don't want no grappling, no clinch, no takedowns, no nothing. So you've got to give him the guys who are going to play into that. I think an old-ass Dominic Cruz would probably try and mog him on the feet. He's just, first of all, Dom, you've got to retire. But if you don't want to, and you want another money fight, this is one of them, dude. Oh shit, I'm covering stuff up again, dude. Shout out Cody. What's wrong with me? Um, but no, you've got to give him one of these guys who is just going to stand here and beat knuckles with him. You've got Dan Ige, you've got Cody Garbrandt, you've got Dominic Cruz. You've got to pick one of these fucking guys. You could probably just give him a scrub who would agree to stand there and bang with him, to be honest, but I don't think that's going to give you the same draw, and I really don't think you want to give him Corey Sandhagen. So, where do we go from here? You hope that he beats up one of these guys, and it'll just set up an actual rivalry. I know I have Dan Ige both in the original thing, and he's over here on the right, but I do think he kind of fits both. If Ryan is able to get in the octagon and beat a Cody Garbrandt level guy, and he's able to go up and fight a Dan Ige or something like that, if he's able to go up and fight, I forgot Rob Font's name. That's who I was trying to remember. If he's able to go up and fight a Dan Ige or a Rob Font, he's obviously not going to beat Sean. But if we could even just get like a sparring match between these guys, that'd be so cool, dude. Or like if the UFC was willing to do some sort of cross promotion where it's just a striking night. I don't know, dude. But this is how you get money and eyes back on the UFC with boxing and other MMA promotions taking their place. Bellator, I don't really think has gotten much bigger, which probably means it has, and I just haven't been paying attention because I'm wrong a lot of times. But regardless, UFC needs to make big fights, big names, big moves, and they need to do it right now. Nick Diaz just pulled out of his fight. Everyone wants to see that. Nate Diaz isn't in the UFC right now, and everyone wants to see him back. Francis Ngannou is out of the UFC, and I feel like it'd be a lot of money to get him back, but it would make a lot of money. There's so many of these guys out there in the world who could be pulling in so much dough for the UFC who simply aren't there anymore. And I feel like they really need to start getting back on track. Not that they're ever going to lose that spot as the #1 promotion, but I feel like if they could just get 2 or 3 good cards under their belt in the next 4 months, they could snowball this shit and take it over. And send it right back to how it was 3 years ago, where no one watches boxing. And I'm tired of watching Devin Haney and shit. I'm not really even a big fan of Ryan Garcia, but I'm yapping, and I've actually got to go to work. So I love you guys. Thank you for watching the video. Please like, subscribe, follow, share, send it to your homies. Tell your homies to send it to their homies. My dog is dying on my bed right now, so, you know, help me out. Love you guys. Bowser. Bow. What are you doing?